welcome to another edition of Fours and Sixers. With me, Swaroop, Swaminathan. As always, I've got Gomesh with me. Obviously, the biggest talking point is the return of the IPL. Are you excited about that? And I mean, first of all, welcome to the show, Gomesh. Just excited about the return of the IPL. Going to be a big IPL this year because I think less than 10 days or so after the IPL finishes, it will lead into a World T20. So lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting things, a lot of things to look forward to, a lot of players to keep an eye on. So in that aspect, it is very exciting to see what happens, especially say in the first half of the IPL, because that will play a significant role in how the Indian team looks for the T20 World Cup.
Of course, just before we begin to talk about the teams and some of the players and the talking points, you do keep in mind that the full schedule is not yet out. It's because of the general elections. Elections will begin
19th April
in a phased manner from April. So we are expecting the schedule to be out sometime soon. So we can really only talk about the first phase of the schedule. Any interesting things that jump out to you in that first phase?
No, I mean, some of the fixtures are very interesting to look forward to because of the pre-season, pre-auction drama and transfers and not. Like, I'm very excited to see how the GT versus MI game in Ahmedabad, a little bit more than the CSK versus RCB, the opener that's set to be played on Friday. Some of the things, and also to see if RR, say, promotes someone like Jurel, who seems to be India's first choice keeper in the longer format. And these are the smaller things, and of course, obviously, the biggest thing is the return of Rishabh Pant. His first time is returning to competitive cricket since the car crash more than a year ago. So, yeah, a lot of interesting things to unpack in the first week.
Apart from you rightly touched upon Rishabh Pant. Obviously, probably the biggest talking point in my opinion is the return of Hardik Pandya to Bombay and Shubman Gill captaining Gujarat. How do you see that?
I mean, it's where the sport is headed, right? It's the direction in which the sport is headed across countries with a lot of same teams in different leagues, whether it's SA20 or MLC. Or we are hearing about reports about investment in hundreds and whatnot. It's the way the direction is headed, but I'm interested to see how the fans react, especially Ahmedabad one fans, because a lot was set and built upon Hardik the leader, Hardik the captain, and how he wants to build something that was different from where he came from. So in that essence, I'm interested to see how they react and how someone like Shubman Gill, grows into the role, because yes, Hardik is at this point India's vice captain, but at the same time, you have to consider the fact that yes, Gill is not a regular in T20s, but he's a regular in the other two formats, and India would want someone to take forward the captaincy from Rohit Sharma in ODIs and Tests as well. And considering someone who's a potential all-format player, this is a litmus test for Shubman Gill to see how he handles the captaincy pressure, and it's maybe a year or two down the line, if he excels at it, he has a really good shot at leading the country as well. So in that essence, a lot of it, obviously, the interesting thing for me is that Pandya even acknowledged the disappointment or the reactions that came on social media. He said they have every right to react the way, but we are not looking at it. We are looking at it in a team perspective and what they want to do with the team. And Hardik is an MI product. There is no denying that. He went out for a couple of years and he came back. He's where he started, and it'll be interesting. I'm more interested to see how Rohit Sharma bats. He has not done anything significant as a batter alone in the last 5 years. His record in the IPL is not substantial in the last 5 years, and with him being appointed as the T20 World Cup captain, him batting the way he has in ODIs, I'm more interested to see because for him, I see it as a platform to put his name up front come the mega auction. This is a stage if he wants to find a place next year. So I'm more interested to see in that and how it goes.
Moving on, from Hardik Pandya and Shubman Gill as captain, cannot look past the return of Virat Kohli after paternity leave, and also another player that I'm really interested to look forward to is Ishan Kishan. lot of stuff has been made about Kishan's break from red ball cricket and the subsequent cancelling of, I mean, not exactly cancelling of his contract. BCCI have not given him a contract at least for this current year. How do you see those two moving parts, both Kohli as well as Kishan?
I think Kohli, this IPL is a lot more crucial than Ishan, because Ishan for Mumbai, he'll be opening the batting and there is no slot for him to make a impact there and come back to the Indian team. So he can only do what his role is there for the team and make peace with it, and then go back to domestic cricket. And that's what the management has been talking about, go back to domestic cricket and make impact and then come back. So with Ishan, it's just about putting up performances, but it is a lot more important to Virat Kohli, because yes, Rohit Sharma has been appointed
just before you start talking about Kohli, it is important. There is this train of thought in Indian cricket right now that because BCCI has tethered themselves to Rohit Sharma, they will not have any choice but to take Kohli also to the World Cup. Do you, one, agree with that? And two, just your thoughts on Kohli coming back?
I'm not sure about the the compulsion of it. I don't think there is any compulsion, given the way the selection committee and the BCCI has been acting with respect to how they have handed out the contracts, But at the same time, it is very clear that he's in the scheme of things. Nobody is denying that. His record in T20 is probably a lot more better than Rohit Sharma's.
Especially in a place like West Indies.
Yeah.
Where, I mean,
it's not the flattest of tracks. It's ball can stop and slow, where they could use an anchor.
You can probably have your criticisms about Kohli the batter in the shortest format, but if you need somebody to chase down 170 or set to target of 170, Kohli is probably still the top 3 batters in the world in this format.
Yeah, from what I've heard and known, he's very much in the scheme of things, and which is why it will be crucial for him to get a head start and do really well in the first few games, because so that the noise around his return will subdue, and then it becomes an obvious case. If he makes a big impact in the first few games, RCB wins a few, then it becomes like he's performing. You can't say anything about it. But then if he's not having a good start and then he picks up later, then there will be a little bit of discussion around it. But in that aspect, which is why this first phase is a lot more crucial for Kohli, who's back. He seems to be in a happy place. He seems to have made peace with where he is in his life in cricket. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes, especially in the opening game against Chennai.
Just moving on from Indian cricket, moving on from big Indian personalities to big Australian personality. Pat Cummins has won everything that needs to, everything that counts in the last year. But one format where he's probably still a bit meh about is the shortest format. Do you think he'll add retaining the Ashes, winning the WTC, winning the World Cup with, let's face it, almost a scratch team that came to India last year? Will he add the IPL title to all of this in 8 months?
I don't know. I mean, you can't say no, you can't say he won't. But at the same time, if he does, I don't think it will be a single-handed show. It's his T20 career, his T20 record is, as you said, is just meh. He's not Hazelwood is a better T20 bowler than he is. Stark is a better T20 bowler than he is. Cummins is a great leader and a captain. Nobody is arguing that. But is he a prospective T20 captain who's going to win you titles, win you matches on his own as a T20 player? I'm not entirely sure, and with the overseas bench that they have, SRH, Sunrisers Hyderabad, and they spent a lot of money on him. With the overseas bench they have, it'll be even more headache with Travis Head, and even Markram might not start. It's not going to be an easy selection, irrespective of whoever you pick, and they would want to figure out the combination early to get the winning game going. It's not going to be easy for Pat Cummins or Hyderabad for that matter. But again, this is a different challenge for him. He's not done it before. Even when he was playing for KKR, when he went for again 15 crores or something like that, he was not bowling regularly. He was taken apart in death. But the good thing is he can hit pace, and there is a specified role for him. But with SRS management, I don't know. They've been known to be inconsistent as the team itself. So how it's going to play out, we'll have to wait and watch.
We will talk about India's pace bowling riches and the probable team combinations for the World Cup in subsequent shows, I'm sure. the last thing that I want to touch upon in this show is the combination of the spinners. We assume that pitches both in the West Indies as well as the USA will be conducive to slow bowling, will be conducive to spin bowling. Saying that, do you think somebody like a Kuldeep is now first choice even ahead of Jadeja?
I'm not sure he's first choice because either of Akshar or Jadeja is going to be there because of their batting ability. But I'm sure he's going to make a case for himself. But he has heavy competition in someone like Ravi Bishnoi. Yes, Chahal is not in the scheme of things, but if he has great IPL, you never know. But at the same time, I think it will probably come down to him and Bishnoi because both are spinners. Both Bishnoi predominantly relies on his googlies, and Kuldeep is again left-arm spinner who takes the ball away. But he's in a really good space. He's adapting. He's in a good form as well. So it'll all depend on how he takes this form into convert it into results for Delhi Capitals as well. That will be crucial. But again, I find the contest between Akshar and Jadeja more interesting because Akshar has been the regular in the T20 side, and then out of the blue, BCCI named Ravindra Jadeja as the vice captain for the T20 side. They travelled to South Africa, and Akshar was dropped. And then Akshar was there in the ODI setup, and then Akshar was back in the Afghanistan series as well for the T20Is. It's been a bit of in and out for Akshar, with Jadeja being there with his credentials in the other two formats. And in IPL, Jadeja will always have a good IPL because he plays his home games in Chennai, where he can just come in and bowl. Is brilliant in these conditions. There is no doubt about it. Which is why I think a lot more pressure will be on Akshar to outdo Jadeja and make an impact as a match winner for Delhi Capitals.
You mentioned a variety of spinners. You name-checked a lot of them. One spinner that you didn't name is R. Ashwin. Now, before you wonder why I'm naming R. Ashwin, Ashwin is somehow not in the white ball scheme of things, but whenever there's a World Cup around the corner, you somehow start hearing his name and he's there in the final squad. Will he be there in the final squad?
I don't know. I think nobody knows at this point in time, because Ashwin is there because he has the experience, and whenever he gets a chance, he makes the most of it. And it also tells a lot about, to an extent, other off spinners who are not being able to replicate the kind of success that he has had, even in the IPL.
He's still probably the best right-arm finger spinner.
Exactly. And someone like Washington Sundar is, with India, he has not get the opportunities. With IPL and other things, he's been constantly injured. But he's back. He captained Tamil Nadu as well in T20s. And he's back with Sunrisers Hyderabad. And another guy who would want to have a really good IPL to make it to the T20 World Cup. He can bat, there is no doubt about it. There is no question of his ability, but he's not put on the records or the statistics to make an impact as well. And when something like that happens, it's understandable when the selectors go for experience. And who says the experience? It's R. Ashwin.
We just finish this show, just spend a few minutes on the first match of the IPL itself. The holders, of course, CSK, gone a whole show without talking about Dhoni. Definitely deserve a pat on the back for that. So CSK and RCB, how do you see that going?
Before going into CSK and RCB, there is a lot of we have to talk about Dhoni. It's impossible not to. He's grown out his hair and he's had the Prime Sports stickers on it. He seems like he's going back in time at least, and he's incredibly fit. There is no doubt about it. He's cricket fit and it's the 15th year with Chennai Super Kings. And ahead of the opening game, he has handed over the captaincy to Ruturaj Gaikwad. You have just written something about how the connection he shares with the city and how the state and city has made it his own. So tell us about that and why it is what it is for the CSK captain as well as the fans.
It's kind of interesting, right? Obviously, the lazy comparison. It's a lazy comparison to make with Dhoni with respect to the larger than life film stars, the larger than life politicians that you see in this state. Right from MGR, Shivaji Ganesan, and it's something I wrote. So. He is definitely somebody who has that larger than life persona about him. It's kind of hard to put into words. Obviously, all the successes have the 7 titles, the 5 IPL titles, the 2 Champions League titles. But Dhoni has shown his loyalty lies with Chennai. Who can forget that iconic jersey of where he, had the CSK jersey with Tala on the back. This was just after CSK were coming back from the ban. This was after weeks, I think less than 2 months before he was with a completely different team, and that team had qualified for the IPL final. I mean, but he didn't really. Okay, I'm not going to say that he disregarded any of that, but that's how much he wanted to play for this franchise. So it works both ways, right? In elite sport, you don't see this kind of loyalty anymore, and that is the loyalty that we're talking about. Dhoni has shown to the fans in return. Fans have reciprocated that loyalty. I know a lot of people, a lot of CSK fans would stop being CSK fans the day Dhoni decides enough is enough. I think I'll just stay home.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the kind of bond. It's something else that I'd written obviously was M.K. Stalin, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister no less, at a function in 2021 called Dhoni as Manja Tamilian, which basically translates to a Tamilian draped in yellow. So that's the kind of affinity that Dhoni shares with the people in the city, and irrespective of what he does in this season, we do not know if it's going to be his final season. Irrespective of what he does, that bond will remain, and I think no words really.
Yeah, but also I want to ask, last season everybody thought it was his last, and wherever CSK went, it was a home game. Do you think, because he's playing again, do you think it'll be any different?
I watch a lot of European football. In how it works in European football is that there's a very clear home away fan base and home fan base. In IPL, somehow I am yet to see that. Like, say for example, a very random example would be, say for example, if a Harry Kane plays against Liverpool I know he plays for Bayern Munich right now, but for example, if Harry Kane goes to Liverpool, the fans will not appreciate if he scores a goal. The fans would love him to fail. But say for example, Kohli, when he plays against Chennai on Friday, the fans would love to see if he scores like a 75 or even 100.
Yeah.
So till such time that there is a clear demarcation of home fans and away fans, Dhoni will continue to be adored. Not just Dhoni, any A-list Indian cricketer will continue to be adored. So I think that should explain everything. Dhoni will continue to be cheered on wherever he is.
That could not be a better ending for this show. We'll be here throughout the season of the IPL.
At least we hope to be here. They're not making any promises.
No, I'll say that we'll be here. I'll make sure I'll drag him to this studio to make the shows as well. We'll be here almost after every home game of CSK at least, and then there is a mid-season review as well. So do stay tuned to the New Indian Express YouTube and social media handles. Until then, this is Gomesh and Swaroop signing off. Thank you for watching.